What you doing? Good morning, beloveds. I'm having one of those mornings. My duck is back. So if you hear a quacking noise, it's my cat. Foster makes this strange sound that just sounds like a duck quacking. It's kind of funny. One of our Fosters did that too. The one time we had because normally when we worked with a rescue group, we bottle fed. But one time we took in a mom with kittens, and she didn't meow either. She quacked like a duck. So we called her Ducks. All right. The title, it's May 3rd. The title is Freedom. And our first quote is, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day." And that is Psalm 91:5. And then the Science of Mind quote is, "We do not deny that people suffer. We do, however, affirm that thought may help and has the possibility of completely healing them from the trouble." And that is Science of Mind, page 244. Ernest Holmes used to tell the most wonderful story. A boy was sitting at the dinner table with his parents, and he began to scratch his head. His father asked him rather sternly, "Why are you scratching your head?" The boy was taken aback for the moment, and then he replied, "Because I'm the one who knows where it itches." Many people tell us things that we can do to improve our lives and find happiness, but do they know what is best for us? When we have a problem, we need to take responsibility ourselves for solving it, and our first step is to acknowledge the problem. The philosopher G.I. Gurdjieff, it's Gurdjieff, pointed out that if we wish to escape from prison, the thing we must first acknowledge is that we are in prison. There are those of us who may want to pretend that nothing is wrong. Many of us carry about pains and fears we have denied, an undercurrent of misery. We go on living, but there is always that undercurrent nagging at us. So right now, let us recognize our pains and fears so that they can be released and healed. Once we recognize that we are in prison, we can take the first step to be released from it. Let us remember always that freedom is our birthright. All right. I know that at the very center, the core of all, is the Spirit of God, in which I live and love and have my being. It knows no misery, suffers no pain, and is never depressed. I consciously unify with this power, and I know that I am indeed a manifestation of this power, this peace, this freedom. And that is RJ, which I believe is Rainbow Johnson. Okay, so we must first acknowledge the problem. One of the things that Science of Mind is frequently accused of, and because we talked a little bit about spiritual bypass yesterday, is kind of being that airy-fairy, not, we can just, what is it? That this reality is an illusion, that anything can be, that if we don't look at it, that it doesn't exist, which is by no means what we teach. What we teach is that there is a power in the center of you that can go a long way to making your life better. But as Rainbow said, one of the things that we've got to do is that if there is a problem, we've got to acknowledge it. We've got to face up to it. We've got to take the steps to take care of it. I finally gave in and called my GP, my doctor, and said, "I'm losing ground here. Like, I'm managing, but I'm losing ground here, and I need to do something now." And so he gave me a referral to a rheumatologist. Now we're in the process of trying to figure out how to get into, because, but I did get the phone call today that the rheumatologist had looked at my records and is willing to see me. So now it's just figuring out the time. So I have acknowledged, okay, there's a problem and I need to take steps. And so it's like, I'm not just gonna, I can't ignore it. And what are the variety of steps that I can do? Some of the other steps that I have been taking is, I exercise, I watch my diet, so I acknowledge there's a problem and this is what I can do about it. But the other thing is the one thing that I can always do is to go within to the source of my being and say, help me with this. And sometimes help looks like a rheumatologist, and sometimes help looks like just a knowing, and sometimes, most of the time, it's both. But I can't ignore the problem. And it's just like with any other problem that we have. We can't ignore the problem. What we want to do is go within first, treat, and then that treatment will allow us to make the best choices, to take the appropriate steps to deal with the problem. Okay? So that's where we are with freedom. I'm the one who knows where it itches. That is just a great story. People can't fix problems that they don't know exist. So if you need support on a problem, you got to ask. And if you are only asking Spirit, then that's great. And Spirit may most likely guide you to other sources that will support you even better than just you handling it by yourself. All right. You don't have to go it alone, because you are never alone. You always have Spirit, but we're one big organism on this earth, and it's going to take all of us to solve some of the problems. Okay. Are you going to lay down, Duck? Okay. So, freedom. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Psalm 91:5. Go read it in context. I have no idea. And then, I like the science of mind. We do not deny that people suffer. We never deny that people suffer. We understand that people suffer. And we offer what we can. So, we do not deny that people suffer. We do, however, affirm that thought may help and has the possibility of completely healing them from trouble. All right? That is the science of mind. We affirm that thought may help and has the possibility. Okay? Ernest Holmes used to tell the most wonderful story. A boy sitting at the dinner table with his parents, and he began to scratch his head. His father, rather sternly, "Why are you scratching your head?" The boy was taken aback for a moment, and then he replied, "Because I am the one who knows where it itches." When you have problems, you know where they are. And until you speak them, until you face them, other people can't help you. They can't offer you the support that you need. Even if you have to deal with your own problem, until you speak that there is a problem, they can't offer you the space to deal with your problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? So speak it, as I'm itching my head. When you speak it and let other people know, then they can make the space for you so that you can handle your problem. And they may have guidance or resources that you didn't know were available until you said, hey. Many people tell us things we can do to improve our lives and find happiness, but do they know what is best for us? Unless you've been talking to them. There's a difference between solicited advice and unsolicited advice. And frequently unsolicited advice is not helpful. But solicited advice, when you come to somebody and say, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, and but when you do that, be specific about the request that you're making. Sometimes when you come to somebody and you say, hey, this is the issue that I'm having, can you have this knowing for me? That's all you want. Or sometimes you go to a person and say, hey, this is the problem I'm having. Can you know this for me? But hey, do you have any resources, i.e., that I can use, whatever that would be. Since I'm thinking about what I'm going through, I'm like, do you have diet suggestions? Do you have, medical time? Do you have a medical doctor that you could suggest? You know what I'm talking about. So, but be specific about the kind of help that you are asking for. Unsolicited help can be very unhelpful. Solicited help can be very helpful. Okay. When we have a problem, we need to take responsibility ourselves for solving it. It doesn't mean we have to do it by ourselves, but we do have to take the responsibility of taking the first step. Our first step is to acknowledge the problem. The philosopher G.I. and Gurdjieff pointed out that if we wish to escape from prison, the thing we must first acknowledge is that we are in prison. I'm just like, all right. There are those of us who may want to pretend that nothing is wrong. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been there. Many of us carry about pains and fears we have denied, an undercurrent of misery. We go on living, but there is always an undercurrent nagging at us. And I'm sorry, I've heard about riptides, and they're kind of undercurrents. Please don't get caught in one in your emotional life. So right now, let us recognize our pains and fears so that they can be released and healed. Once we recognize that we are in prison, we can take the first step to being released from it. Let us remember that freedom is always our birthright. The first step is to acknowledge the problem. We look it in the face and say, all right, I see you. Now what am I going to do about you? And then Spirit can open up resources we didn't even know we had. Okay, so I know that at the very center, the core of it all, is the Spirit of God in which I live, love, and have my being. It knows no misery, suffers no pain, and is never depressed. I consciously and continuously unify with this power and know that I am indeed a manifestation of this power, this peace, this freedom. All right, so that's Rainbow Johnson. I really enjoy Rainbow Johnson. I like the way she writes. Okay, the mission today. Should we choose to accept it? Because we're talking, it's kind of this, we're talking about being in prison and we're talking about freedom. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is if we have something that isn't running an undercurrent in our lives, let's face up to it. Let's look it in the eye and call it the no thing that it is, and allow Spirit to open up the resources to send it back to the no thing that it is. All right? That is the mission today, and it's an interesting one. The other mission is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. What mine looks like is that tonight I'm going to buy tickets to go see Alton Brown. May 10th. I'm very excited. And if you don't know who Alton Brown is, that's totally okay. He is a food scientist. I have enjoyed his show, Good Eats, for years. I have a bunch of his cookbooks. This is supposed to be his final cookbook. I don't believe that, but that's going to be my loving, kind, compassionate thing. So sometimes it's just, your loving, kind, compassionate thing is to book something fun. It's also taking a nap, taking a walk, taking 3 deep breaths before you speak, because I'm going to need that today. And it's about knowing who you are. All right. I also encourage you, as I always do something to engage your mind and your body. Drink plenty of water. Get a face full of bright light early in your day. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around you all the time. Always. And Emma gives the best advice. Look for the good and praise it. Because it is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. And when we give of ourselves, it's a great way to find it. Okay. There's a lot going on in May and June. I'm trying to psych myself up and get really excited about my ordination, so I'm starting to talk about it. Cat. So that's coming up at the end of June. We have a food market coming up. You want to find heaven? Come volunteer at the food market. There's something about that feeling. Also, I'm going to be teaching a class starting in June, and we've got three book studies going at all times, with a new one starting this Thursday. So email info@creativelife.org if you want to know what's going on there. But I need to get off and go to work. So have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a joyous day, a freedom day, a looking it in the face day and calling it for what it is, and being open to the amazing resources once we face it day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. All right, beloveds, catch us on the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. I am the running Rev Ryan. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. Have fun today. And know that you're loved. Always. I'll see you next time.